Right, welcome back, Microbits. We are doing the second part of our reaction time game that I created earlier on. So we have so far made the initial start function for the game in the coding, and we are now doing the reaction part of the coding. So what happens when we press the button? So as you can see, whoopsie. As you can see on my screen here, that was the coding that we had just made in the last video. And now we're going to carry on. We're going to add pin 1 for our player 1 person. Change that to pin 1. And once we've created this, we just copy and paste it and make a pin 2, changing just a couple of images to make it a 2-player game, which is nice and simple. So the first block we need is an if block. And we want to say if the program is running, so if it's running, then do the following. I'm going to set running to false. Written here. So what this is saying, oops, wrong way, is that when we press pin 1, when we press our button on the game, if the program is running, which is what happens after you've pressed the start button, that we want to set running to false. We want to essentially tell it to stop running the program. We also need to do another new thing. We need to set end to runtime. Whoops. Runtime milliseconds. Okay, and this will come clear a bit later on. Right, and we're going to, I'll come back to that. We're going to tell it which person has pressed the buzzer, essentially. Oops. I've got 2 laptops and the 2 mouse pads go in different directions, so hence why I look a little unco when I'm trying to move the screen around. I've got 2 laptops going with 2 different directions going on the mouse pads, on the touch pad. Now, nice and simple, just create an arrow pointing to the person who pressed the button. So in this case, player 1 will be on the left. We make an arrow show up on the left. Right, we want that to show up on the screen for a couple of seconds. We want to pause. Two seconds. All right, and then we can clear the screen. And show number. So the show number is going to be related to the time it took to react. So obviously the smaller the number means the faster the time, right? So obviously 1 second is smaller than 3 seconds, right? Now obviously it's talking about milliseconds, so you want it in the sort of hundreds of milliseconds or tens of milliseconds if you're really super fast, over sort of the high hundreds or thousands of milliseconds, which obviously means you're really, really slow. And to do that, we need to say the end time minus the start time. So hence why we took note of the end time up here. So we want a maths block. We're going to have an equation in here, minus. Right, and we want to say variables end, because obviously the end is a higher number than the start number, which is 0. And variables start. So if we take the end time, take away the start time, which sort of makes sense, at least it does for the computer, it will show that number. Next, we need to add on here. So if it basically you're saying if you did it wrong and you hit the button too early, we want to do this. So we want to go and say false start variables set. This will be false start to true. True. And I'm just going to throw in a loop here because we just want to sort of flash something first. Flash an image. And so this is false start. So if you've done it at the wrong time, so you've done it before the little dot shows up, it's going to say that's a false start. And then on a false start, it's going to show the following. It's going to show who made the false start, which again will be you because you press the button. Player on the left. Okay, and we want it to sort of blink between these things. So I'm just going to have a wee clear screen, just so it's not too funny looking. And then we want it to have another one of these and say, you were wrong. You were wrong, dude. Person on the left, you got this wrong. Okay, and so it's just going to flick between the arrow and the cross 4 times before it stops. We'll just go clear screen again, of course. So we'll stop on the clear screen. Excellent. So now we can, I'll do it correctly first and then incorrectly second. So it runs down 3, 2, 1, go, and we wait for the dot to appear. I'll just point it out, there it is. And we go, oh, I see it. Let's press this. Hooray, I won. It took me 3,241 milliseconds. It is a really bad score. It took me far too long to do that, but that's okay. Right, next time I'm going to do it again, and this time I'm going to be really onto it. Oh, I went too early. Oops. There we go. Right, and it's showing that I did it wrong. Oh man, I went too early. I jumped the gun. Let's try again, see if I can get a good score. Hey. Okay, fail click. Never mind. But you got the idea. So now to make this a 2-player game, all we need to do is copy and paste this entire series of coding and change some very simple things. We're going to change this to say on P2. So on pin 2, when pin 2 is pressed, whoops, backwards again. It's very laggy, which really doesn't help. Okay, so P2, same, but instead of going pointing to the left. We want it to point to the right. Nice simple change. And again, down the bottom here, just changing. Only a couple of pixels really. And that's it. That's all you need to change to make that whole thing two-player. All right, enjoy the game. Again, hopefully one day, because I don't know how to yet, but one day I might figure out a way of getting a link up to the how I created the actual board game part. But in the meantime, enjoy. I'm sure you can figure out a way of making it for yourself. All right, and we will see you in our next video. Ka kite anō. We'll see you again. Bye.